I walk through the corridors and notice several third years whispering and pointing at me. My stomach sinks for a moment. Have I spilled potion ingredients on my robes again? Merlin forbid if I smell of asphodel before lunch. Suddenly Peeves zooms past, cackling to himself like a broken kettle, only to stop mid-air as he spots me.
Ooh, look who's here! The pretty new potions professor!
Good afternoon to you too, Peeves. I tilt my chin up, forcing a polite smile. I'd already had the honor of meeting him once, and quickly learned that a little flattery kept me dry and slime-free. Better to butter him up and spend the rest of the day dripping with enchanted ink. He does a backward flip in the air, clearly delighted with himself, and basks in the attention like a child.
Good afternoon indeed. The students are all talking about your classes and presents.
Presents. That sounds dangerously close to beauty. I'm fairly sure the rumor mill will one day credit me with either the downfall or salvation of Hogwarts at this rate. Oh, all good things, I hope. Which is, of course, the most naive thing I could possibly say to Peeves of all creatures. He swoops closer, cupping a translucent hand around his mouth, as though ghosts can keep secrets. His voice drops to a conspiratorial whisper, heavy with glee.
Oh, yes. And how about Professor Snape can't stop staring at you?
I blink. Of course. Gossip about Severus. Because why discuss my teaching style when you can discuss my alleged presence and Snape's eyes? I already know Severus keeps staring. That's hardly news. Though, really, is he staring? Or is that simply his resting glare? Honestly, half the time I can't tell if he's trying to pierce my soul or calculate how much boomslang skin I've wasted. Annoying, yes. Unnerving sometimes. But not half as irritating as Umbridge.
Ooh, you admit it. The bat of the dungeons has his beady eyes on you. Oi, oi, oi! Snape and his new favorite toy.
Toy? I arch an eyebrow, refusing to flinch. Careful, Peeves, or you might find yourself being the one that is locked in a toy chest. He shrieks with laughter and clutching his belly as if I just tickled him with a quill. A few students pause mid-corridor, wide-eyed and whispering furiously to each other. Great. Now I'm both the rumored object of Snape's stares and apparently brave enough to sass Peeves. Just perfect. Add it to my ever-growing list of unintended reputations. Peeves suddenly zips backwards, floating high, and then, oh, Merlin help me, he starts singing.
Snapey, Snapey, Scowly Bat, got his beady eyes. Imagine that. On the new prof, sweet and bright, dreaming of her every night.
The corridor explodes with giggles. First years cover their mouths, trying not to snort too loudly. Older students lean against the wall, pretending to be casual but obviously riveted. I pinch the bridge of my nose. Peeves. Wonderful. Now I'm the star of Peeves' latest ballad. Next week I'll be immortalized in a limerick about dungeons and candlelight. Perfect. Just perfect.
Push and pear, what a sight! Snape's in love, hold her tight.
If you don't stop, I'll ask the bloody Baron to oil his sword just for you. Peeves gasps dramatically while clutching his chest. Then he zips away, singing the rhyme even louder, echoing down the corridor.
Snape's in
But
love,
Severus's voice is cutting in.
Peeves!
The poltergeist freezes mid-flip, and the corridor falls deathly silent. A few students go pale, caught between terror and glee at what's about to unfold. I don't even have to look. I feel him approach. The swish of his robes, the deliberate, controlled stride. Of course he'd show up now, right when Peeves has turned us into the lead of his romantic ballad.
Not another word. Merlin cursed that wretched poltergeist. Of all corridors, of all hours, of all the possible humiliations, Peeves chooses this one to sing a love song about you and me. Utter nonsense, and the sound of it still lingers like smoke. The way the students look at you, half amused and half scandalized. The way you froze, chin lifted, trying not to flinch under the attention. There's a dignity to you that doesn't suit ridicule, and Peeves saw it fit to try and shatter that with rhyme.
Oh, but the rhyme's so sweet! You and your little...
The glare that Severus casts upward could melt steel. Peeves squeaks and vanishes through the wall and is gone in a puff of cowardice. Only the sound of my own heartbeat is battering my ribs. Students scatter faster than Cornish pixies, leaving just the two of us in the suddenly suffocating corridor. Merlin's beard. I'd rather duel a dragon. Why couldn't the floor just open up and swallow me whole? I force a smile, but my voice is too bright. Well, that was entertaining. Severus is finally turning his gaze on me.
Do not encourage him. Entertaining, she says, as if it were merely a bit of theatre. I can feel the tension running through me even now, that old, coiled instinct to restore order by force. If he'd dared another verse, I might have blasted him clear through the ceiling. But it's not only anger at the ghost that twists inside me. It's something else, something uncomfortably close to heat beneath my collar. Irritation, yes, and embarrassment, perhaps. The idea that anyone could pair my name with yours and make it into some jest is ridiculous, infuriating, and impossible.
Encourage? As though I would ever invite Peeves to serenade me about my love life. I assure you, I'd sooner drink one of my failed experiments than ask Peeves to compose poetry. The faintest twitch pulls at the corner of his mouth. Gone in an instant, but I catch it.
Good. Then see to it that the students understand the difference between fact and Peeves' delusions. Control is habit, not choice. Control is the only constant I have left. And yet you look at me, unflinching and half amused, and reply with that maddening wit something about failed experiments and poetry.
Ah, yes. Easy. Because teenagers are famously excellent at separating truth from rumor. By tonight, they'll have me eloping with you in the Forbidden Forest. And by tomorrow, Hogsmeade will be selling commemorative mugs. Of course, Severus. I turn away and walk towards the great hall, with the students that are, with no doubt, already scribbling versions of the song into their journals. That afternoon, I set the 7th years to brewing healing drafts, simple enough in theory, but demanding precision. I've decided to replenish the supplies in the hospital wing before the colder months creep in. I watch each cauldron with a careful eye, testing the vials myself before sending them off to Madame Pomfrey. The relief on her face when I handed them over almost made the fatigue worth it. I step into the great hall for dinner. The aroma of roasted meats and baked bread wafts over the tables, but it's the eyes on me that I notice first. Students turn their heads. Whispers are darting from one mouth to the next. Some remember Peeves' song. Others, I realize, have already heard about my potions. Word travels quickly in this castle. Too quickly, apparently. Dumbledore lifts a hand. His unmistakable gesture is summoning me to the staff table.
Ah, Professor, come join us for dinner.
I manage a small, polite smile and make my way to him, taking the empty seat at his side. The warmth of his presence is almost overwhelming. He leans in slightly, so only I can hear.
I heard about your generous contribution to the hospital wing. Very commendable.
A faint flush touches my cheeks. His praise feels heavier than I expected, as though it carries more weight than the words alone. The other professors glance my way and nod their approval. A quiet current of acknowledgment is running along the table. I offer a small, murmured thanks, trying not to let the attention linger too long on me. My eyes flicker further down the table. Severus sits rigid.
Of course, the old fool practically sings her praises for brewing a few paltry batches of healing draughts, as though I have not bled myself dry over the years, making far greater quantities, without fanfare, without applause. I stab at my food with deliberate calm.
He moves slowly, and though his eyes remain fixed on his plate, the weight of his disdain coils in my chest. I swallow carefully, uncertain whether to take his silence as insult or simply Severus being Severus. It was my pleasure. Anything to help people feel better. There is already enough misery in the world, and even small steps can help to create a bigger effect. The words slip out softer than I intended, though they are true. Misery spreads like poison. Perhaps kindness can be its antidote.
Indeed. Your compassion is quite refreshing in these times.
I catch McGonagall's warm smile from across the table. It makes me straighten unconsciously, though I try not to appear too self-conscious.
You've certainly brought a positive energy to the staff, Professor, and the students adore you.
I hope not too much. I busy myself with serving spaghetti onto my plate, hoping the heat in my cheeks goes unnoticed.
Too late for that. They're already comparing you to Professor Snape's intimidating presence.
My eyes flick toward him instinctively. Severus's scowl deepens. The shadows cling to his face as if to emphasize the weight of his displeasure. At the same time, I feel Umbridge's calculating stare from further down the table. Her quill-like mind is probably already scratching notes onto imaginary parchment. They shouldn't compare. That's not fair. I am sure Professor Snape has made quite the impact at the potion stores before me. I merely continue his work.
Did she... For a moment, I wonder if I misheard. A faint jolt runs through me before I can stop it. Did you truly defend me? No one has ever spoken so. They speak only of my temper, my cruelty, my scowl, a grumpy fool, nothing more. And yet, a faint thread of something unfamiliar stirs in my chest. Your words. They settle in me like something dangerously close to gratitude and suspicion. Why would you say that?
No, they shouldn't. But they will, because you're different. And sometimes different is exactly what we need.
Different isn't always easy. Different is lonely. Different is dangerous.
True. But those who are different often have the most interesting stories to tell.
I notice his eyes flick briefly to Severus before returning to me. The subtle glance doesn't escape Severus either. His head lifts. His curiosity is pricked, though his expression remains carefully neutral. Across the table, Umbridge exhales a disdainful huff and shoves at her food with deliberate contempt.
Don't let her get to you. She's just jealous of your popularity.
She may have it all, and she can keep it. I don't like the attention. And I mean it. The weight of eyes, The whispers, the comparisons, it gnaws at me. Dumbledore only smiles knowingly, as though I've confirmed some private theory of his, before rising to his feet. His voice carries easily across the hall. Remus's quiet voice drifts in from further down the table, and his eyes meet mine with that familiar, steady kindness.
Attention is fickle. It comes when you don't want it, and vanishes when you need it most. What matters is what you do when the noise fades. And you've done more than most already.
Before we begin our evening meal, I'd like to acknowledge the new Potions Professor's contributions to the school.
I instinctively raise a hand to my face, half hiding. This is exactly what I did not want. The sound of applause hits me like a wave. Students cheer, some even rise. Umbridge's face flushes a most unflattering shade of pink, and her lips are pressed into a hard line. I breathe out, steadying myself, and lower my hand. I will not cower like a shy first year. Seeing Umbridge's fury almost makes the attention worth it. Almost.
Our new professor has shown exceptional dedication to both her craft and the well-being of our school.
I grit my teeth as the hall erupts again, louder this time. I see you shrink and try to fold into yourself, then rallies with that soft smile, always soft but always measured. The students cheer louder for you than they ever did for me. I tell myself it is nothing, just empty noise, but the tightness in my chest says otherwise.
Don't think that I thank you for this.
I heard that, and you're welcome anyway.
I can't help myself. My patience thins with every cheer and every approving nod that is cast in your direction. My words slip free. Enjoy it while it lasts, Professor. Fickle as they are, students are swift to turn. Adoration today, disdain tomorrow. I would not grow too comfortable.
His voice cuts through the clamor, soft but sharp, and meant only for me. The words sting, though I can't decide whether they are warning or mockery. Perhaps both. I meet his dark eyes briefly and look away, forcing myself to swallow the knot in my throat. Wise advice, I murmur, more to myself than to him, though my pulse beats harder than I want to admit.
Your eyes flash with a glimmer I cannot name. Defiance? Hurt? Both? Perhaps I pushed too far. No matter. It is better that you learn quickly that the world does not cradle kindness. It consumes it. Better feel the truth of it now, before the pedestal collapses beneath you.
Perhaps. But if their admiration pushes them to study harder, to believe in themselves more, then I will endure their fickleness. Even if they turn tomorrow, at least tonight they are inspired. That matters more to me than my comfort.
I stare at my plate, but her words settle heavier than I anticipated. Most would deflate or retreat into apologies and excuses. She does not. She answers me with conviction, defending not herself, but her purpose. I feel something tighten in my chest, something uncomfortably close to respect. You do not yield to me. Few ever dare. I glance back up. You are still looking at me.
I hold his gaze, refusing to look away. His eyes are black and sharp, but I will not let him think his scorn can silence me. My words were truth, and I will not regret them.
I incline my head the faintest fraction, masking the gesture as nothing, but in truth it is an acknowledgment. You may not realize it, but you have won something I rarely give. Respect.
The next day begins like any other, with too much parchment, too little patience, and the faint comfort of solitude. But that is only temporary. The great hall hums softly with morning chatter, but to me it all feels like background noise. Blurred voices, clinking cutlery, the faint echo of laughter somewhere at the Ravenclaw table. I sink down onto the staff bench, still half asleep, and blink at the steam that is rising from my teacup, as if it might reveal the meaning of life. Merlin, why does breakfast exist at this hour? My hair probably looks like a battle between exhaustion and gravity. I rub my eyes, hoping no one is watching too closely. But of course, he is. Severus Snape sits a few seats down, pretending not to look in my direction. He's very bad at pretending. I can feel those sharp, assessing eyes, the kind that dissect a person's soul the way he dissects potion ingredients. A soft patter on the stone floor draws my gaze downward. A cat, sleek and gray, with green, knowing eyes, pads silently toward me. Oh, hello there. The feline tilts its head, studying me. For a moment, I feel oddly inspected, but then it steps closer, and instinct takes over. I reach out slowly, let it sniff my hand, and when it doesn't object, my fingers find their way behind its ear. Its fur is surprisingly soft. I scratch gently, and the cat closes its eyes, leaning just a little into my touch. Something about the trust in that gesture makes me smile faintly. Small, tired, but sincere. Then, as quietly as it came, it turns and walks away, with a flick of its tail. Somewhere behind me, there's a muffled giggle. Professor Sprout, if I'm not mistaken. I glance her way, but she quickly hides behind her teacup. Dumbledore's blue eyes glint with amusement, that I'm too drowsy to question it. Probably some inside joke between colleagues. Across the table, Umbridge watches me, with that pinched little smile of hers, as though petting a cat is somehow suspicious behavior. I sip my tea and try to ignore her. A few minutes later, Professor McGonagall appears, straightening her robes as she takes her seat next to me.
She looks as though she hasn't slept in a week. Her hair falls messily over one shoulder, and she blinks at her tea like it's both her greatest hope and mortal enemy. A wry thought crosses my mind. She dares to call herself a professor now. Didn't you now? That sleep derogation is part of the job? But the smirk that almost forms doesn't quite reach my lips. Then the cat approaches. Of course, it's not just a cat. Dumbledore's eyes gleam with that irritating spark of mischief he wears when he's orchestrated something. I realize what's about to happen a moment before it does. Minerva. I fold my hands and watch, silently. The creature leaps lightly onto the floor beside your chair, pausing to observe. Most new professors would stiffen, wary of a stranger's animal in the great hall, perhaps shoo it away. But you greet the cat softly, half asleep but gentle, and scratches behind her ear as though it's the most natural thing in the world. No hesitation, just simple kindness. Minerva's tail flicks once, approval perhaps. The old cat turns and walks off, composure intact, but even from here I can sense her surprise. Dumbledore's amusement deepens. Pomona's giggle confirms my suspicion that everyone else already knew. Except for you, of course. I sip my coffee, hiding the faint curve at the corner of my mouth. There's something almost refreshing about watching someone so obliviously genuine. When Minerva returns moments later in her human form and greets you, Pomona chuckles. Dumbledore smiles, and Umbridge sneers predictably.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm cradling my mug between both hands.
I trust you slept well.
I shake my head, smiling faintly. No, but it doesn't matter. And her brow arches, puzzled.
It doesn't matter.
No, whether I sleep well or not. I'm still not a morning person. A brief chuckle runs around the table. McGonagall's lips twitch, half amusement, half curiosity.
And did you sleep at all?
Barely. I am used to work late, you see. Old habits.
Oh, doing what, if I may?
I worked in a potion shop. Afternoon until around 9 in the evening. The owner liked that arrangement. He opened early. I closed late. Customers appreciated it too. McGonagall nods thoughtfully.
Sounds like a good place to work. Why did you leave?
I pause, staring into the dark reflection in my tea. He died. Heart attack. A silence follows. Her face softens, and even Dumbledore's eyes lose their twinkle for a beat.
I'm sorry.
I nod once. He was kind. The warmth of the cup seeps into my palms as I hold it tighter, grounding myself in the moment. The great hall buzzes again, but my thoughts linger in a small potion shop that no longer exists.
She holds her teacup with both hands, and her shoulders are drawn in slightly. Her eyes are shadowed with fatigue, but not weakness. When she mentions the potion shop, working late, closing alone, the owner's death, something in her tone changes. The words are simple, but the silence afterward is heavy. Grief doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just breathes quietly into a cup of tea. I look away before you catch me watching again, stirring my coffee as though it demands my full attention. But I can't help the thought that slips through. She fits here. Even half awake, even with all your edges still hidden, you fit.